beyond, Megatron.
Subscribe for Magic the Gathering and other content for evil fun.
Fear not, Megatron. Cybertron shall remain as you leave it.
I need to make a intro for this series if I'm gonna do more. Oh man.
Right.
Yep. Cosmic, hello. We have a special guest, Robert, just joining us, chilling out. He's gonna be with us.
Heck
Talking.
yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. And coffee.
Coffee.
Oh yeah. So, because I like in the morning coffees, I don't like to get too deep. But I go as deep as the conversation goes, honestly. But normally it's just me or someone else. Someone else sometimes jumps in, like Hillbilly will jump in. I don't know exactly what he's up to today, but I know he's doing issues with that kidney stone. But this is like the reason why I like the open forum concept is it's kind of like the round table, but you know I don't think we hold much of a we don't hold much of a precedence to be too serious or to be focused on one topic, and sometimes we rabbit trail, or sometimes someone just finds a good line, train of thought, and just follows it, and we just get into that.
Right.
You know, so you know, there's no real structure other than it's just fuck. We're waking up. We're waking up in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Yes, and you know, and for the don't know, swearing is allowed on my channel. I just don't like it when it's stringed together and you're just being an asshole about it. But you know, if you have to say a swear word, knock yourself out. Sometimes it just fits perfectly for what you're trying to do.
Right. That they exist for a reason.
Right. So the kind of topic we have today is I want to bring in is I was just talking to Robert about it right before we started, and he started getting in some good details. I'm like, well, I don't want to waste the fire, so we might as well just start a couple minutes early. But so there's a conflict in our community, and it's not a big conflict, but they're opposition conflicts. Like they bump heads, they don't mix, they don't go together well. Because we have this whole group of people who love the collector's value, the sealed product kind of thing, whatever. You know, they love the value of the cards to be up. But a lot of people that I've noticed, and I was scrolling through Facebook and other social medias about people talking about cards. Like, for example, the last card I saw was Smothering Tithe. And someone was asking, what is your love-hate relationship with this card? And a lot of people said, well, I love it, but I hate the price tag. And I'm like, this thing's been reprinted so long. It's not super expensive. I mean, it's not a card I just can go out and buy right away, but it's still like less than $20. What? Yeah. I mean, the cheap end's there, but like when you go to sell the card later on, you're going to want the most value out of that card anyways. So where's your collector value and your cheap thumb going to meld together? Because I like buying cards on the cheap, and I used to buy cards on the cheap because I used to watch the market, because it was a lot easier to watch the market a while back ago when you could tell when a price dropped and when it's going to go back up. It was so much easier than it is today because the reprint list is just insane. Excuse me. You know, so like, and I'd buy cards on the cheap and watch them go up, and now, like, I'm not salty about it, but now it's hard to keep good cards in. But now, yesterday's topic on the Prime Tortoise was talking about how Commander is like the flagship format people jump into, and you can't have a high entry level gate for entry level format anymore, even though Commander was never always, well, Commander hasn't always been the entry-level format. It just became the entry-level format because of lockdown and all that jazz. And, man, the conflict is we want our cards cheap, but we want our collectibles collectively valuable.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of always been the conflict in Magic. You know, I can think back to 94, when Magic was first starting, 93, 94, and product would hit the shelves, and, you know, the people with more disposable income would go buy it all up, and there was
Right.
nothing left for the players. So then they start releasing more sets, and the people with more disposable income get upset because, you know, there's more sets, there's reprints, they do Chronicles, for example.
Right.
And all of a sudden we get more players flood into the game, and the collectors are ticked off. And it's like, well, you know, we've always kind of had that sort of separation
Right.
between people who view it as with an investment standpoint and people who just want to play, and
Right.
they want to play at the cheapest point possible.
Yeah, and listening to some people on YouTube. I'm not going to name some names, but some people we know, some people I don't know if we all know, but there's people on YouTube who talk about Magic the Gathering and how they like to buy their cards and what's right for a price at what location or when to buy it. And I think I think the pipe dream that people follow, and what once used to be this way more effectively is not this way anymore, is it feels like people have the reseller mentality when it comes to Magic. They're like, well, if I can buy it cheap and the value goes up, I can resell it and make my money back. And I think that's kind of the thing where people kind of get stuck in this mentality. Now, I'm not saying everybody has the same mentality, but it seems like the conflicting personality trait that follows is, if I buy cheap and sell for more, I get more gain. And if I got to play the game with it, then I got twice the game. It's a win-win. And Magic is just really diverted from that thought process. You know, even though expensive product is still expensive.
It is expensive. and really it's all that, you know, to go back to 94, it's always been expensive. It was $2.50 a booster pack in 94. And back then, $2.50, you could get a gallon of gas and a gallon of milk and probably a loaf of bread too.
Right.
For, you know, compared price. So
right. Yeah, which is understandable, like the things you can get with the price of a Magic pack back then. I mean, it's like watching the price of cigarettes. And, you know, like, it's like there were once 50 cents a pack to $1 a pack to $3 a pack to now, like, $8 a pack? $7 to $8 a pack?
And 10 over where DJ lives, or 14. Yeah.
It's a lot. I know it's a weird comparison, the Magic, but that's kind of what I see people trying to think of when they buy Magics for cheap. They want to sell it for the expensive side. But But here, let me bring into the idea of what Bob calls Bob from Pure MTG calls the Black Swan event. Is when COVID hit and people had that excess money to spend. They bought a lot of products, and there's more to that explanation, but I'm just going to stick to that small bit. And well, during that time, we got Wizards of the Coast got millions of people that just joined the game, right?
Yep.
And so they were making buku bucks by printing all these sets, and they had to keep up because they weren't ready for such an influx of people just jumping in the game.
Correct.
So when it comes to the product releases, I think in a way Wizards, and this is not solid fact, but I think Wizards trying to compensate for all the newer players that are jumping in to make the game more accessible. Plus, with the addition of newer players coming in every day.
Yep, exactly. I agree.
Which in my brain, I can't fathom the thought process that goes into trying to keep up in that kind of market.
Yeah. It's that. I mean, it's so nuanced, and it's. I don't. They've got to have like 5 teams of people. So like, yeah, that's crazy.
Right, like the one thing that's been on my mind lately is trying to see things through Wizards' point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wizards gets a lot of flack from us in the community, honestly. I mean, now we're a bullish community. That's not the exact words, but we're a bullish community is the fun way of saying it. Because honestly, when Wizards of the Coast makes a decision, even if it's Hasbro's main decision or their decision, they get the scrap all the time. They get the people making content against them, you know.
Yep.
And that's what. And honestly, from what I seen personally, what I've seen through how Wizard handles personally, they learn to get past the flack and just push a product out to see if the product sells or not. Because the key element or the key storyline was they got a lot of flack for the Walking Dead Secret Lair, and it became the best-selling secret lair of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they know they learned, you know, no matter what the community says, push out the stuff to see how it goes. Because no matter if we talk good or bad about WotC, it's all press, and any press is good press. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. You know? And two, to add to that, WotC, they care how a product sells on the secondary market and such.
Right.
But once the boxes reach distribution and allocations are filled, they've made their money.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go to WotC and say, I want a refund for my box because, you know, I didn't hit an ancient copper dragon. Oh, yeah. So...
Right.
They've already got their cash. They're fine.
Oh yeah, like that is one thing that I don't think a lot of people think of is once they buy the product, they already bought it from someone who's paid for it. You know. And that's why MSRP should be back in the game, because that's what makes things important. Because MSRP is telling the distributors, here's how much you paid for it, here's how much to make money off top. But they took an MSRP off the thing, so we don't know what the retail we don't know how much the
what their markup is and such.
We don't know how much your markup is. We don't know what's a good deal anymore. That's the true thing. We don't. That's what taking the MSRP did to us, is it took us from knowing what a good deal was on the product.
Correct. And to WotC's perspective, the MSRP really didn't help much. Like I remember when Commander premiered and they started doing the Commander decks, there was the Mind Thieves Commander deck, which introduced True Name Nemesis.
Oh, I remember.
I'm sure
that.
You know that card.
From the Thruxmunder deck.
Yeah, and so all the other decks were being sold at $19.99, which was MSRP. That deck was going $80, $100. Yeah, and that was above MSRP. There was a printed MSRP, and still it was skyrocketing. So really what the MSRP removal did was removed our ability to complain to WotC about people ripping us off.
Oh, yeah. WotC didn't rip us off, but like that's what makes the game fair for the buyers, the player-based buyers.
Yeah,
is knowing what the MSRP is and knowing how much a product is shows you how much value you can pull from a deck. Because True Name Nemesis really carried that deck for a while. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nexar was an expensive card for a while back then. He was popular. I even had a Wheels and Deals deck made out of him, and I actually took out True Name Nemesis because he's not good for the deck. He was good for Legacy. And so I sold him for parts for the deck. I'm like, what a deal.
Exactly. I did the same thing, and I actually picked up a spare copy of the deck to keep sealed because I was like, oh, they're never going to reprint True Name Nemesis. Oh, yeah, they did.
They did. And now he's like...
I had that Timmy mindset at the time, as I like to say.
Well, Timmy mindsets are fine. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Because I'm a Timmy player, but I'm just more seasoned, knowing that you can't trust the reprint market anymore. especially when you get reprints set after set after set.
Correct.
Well,
what was I going to say? Gosh dang it. Never mind.
you're good.
I forgot.
Well, okay, so even with the reprints the way they are, one thing that's been weirding me out, and this is kind of left field, but still a magic, is how they're treating the sets now. Like the changes coming up, and the biggest changes are going to be one Planeswalker per set.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, they're going to start. Howdy, you hillbilly! They're going to start changing the mythic rarity pulls to be harder, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which I'm fine with the mythic rarities being harder to pull, but why only one Planeswalker per set?
Well, Planeswalkers really haven't had an impact on gameplay in a while. I mean, there's cases like Ren and 6 is phenomenal, Wandering Emperor phenomenal, but then you've got Jace Mirror Mage, and you've got these ones that aren't seeing any play. People don't care about them anymore. And actually, Mark Rosewater on his blogatog the other day alluded to the fact that they are now going to start looking at doing less legendary creatures per Magic set and continuing with the more legendary creatures in Universes Beyond. So that's some interesting connotations there, where they're kind of trying to shift standard sets, I think, away from being commander-centric and being more constructed-centric again.
And to Hillbilly, I hope things go well in the hospital for you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hillbilly.
All right, he just sent that because I sent him a link. He's like, I'm like, oh, poor guy. So, I do like the idea they're going to print less legendaries in the set. That means they're going to give the sets room to breathe, to be more of a real set than just a commander, here you go, staples kind of set.
Correct.
The Planeswalker thing, I like the one Planeswalker thing throws me off. The Universes Beyond having more legendaries, I can see that because there's a lot of unique characters in individual franchises that belong. I mean, you don't really want a non-legendary Captain America if he's like the only Captain America.
Right, because then they'd have to weaken him and dumb him down so that way he doesn't hurt Legacy.
Right.
If you can have a 4 of and play multiples, like, nah, dude. Of course, if they did that, they'd have to do Spider-Man non-legendary because there's like 15 Spider-Mans and you got to own in on the meme of all the Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Right. No, that'd be an interesting Universes Beyond set. Spider-Verse.
Hell yes. Give me Venom.
Oh, Venom. God, I haven't seen the newer movie with Carnage in it, but Carnage has always been my favorite.
You talk about a true supervillain. You get a psychotic dude, give him a psychotic alien. Oh, man.
And the fact that he can turn his happy lunchtime to you, Twiddler, even though it's morning, it's brunch time for me. But like, I always liked how Carnage could weld his hands into weapons and like it turned into a physical weapon. He can make them sharp. He can make them big, bulky clubs. You know, things that you never saw Venom do.
Yes, it would. Carnage is like, to me, one of the ultimate supervillains, and Venom, one of the ultimate anti-heroes. Like, damn,
right?
Really well written characters.
Not enough light, and he just had a better design. That red, bloody black coloring on him was just insane. All right, hold on. MTG Hillbilly is giving us some serious information here. My heart rate dropped and kidney stones started hurting after DJ stream and going to bed. That's not a LOL moment there, Hillbilly. That really sucks.
That does. I'm so sorry to hear that, Hillbilly. Yeah. I hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, I hope you get things figured out for sure. Hope the hospital can do something because that does not sound great. Your heart rate slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
Mm. But so. But and I could see some characters having multiple versions of themselves in the Universes Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Not talking about like Spider Verse and having different Spider-Mans, but like with Captain America, you have a couple different timelines of Captain America in different suits. In fact, in my room, I have a figure of Captain America in a black suit.
Ooh, nice.
I can't remember what the name of the character is because it's like a different character name for it, but and I won it off a stream a long time ago. It's like one of those 12-inch figures.
Ooh.
I have it listed on Marketplace, but I'm gonna pull it down if it doesn't sell.
Right.
Because I like the character too. I like the figure too. It's just like when I get something new or have something, and I'm like, well, if I want it, I should see if someone else wants it, and if they don't want it, that means that I can keep it and not feel bad.
Exactly.
All right. Just try to stay positive. No doubt, you need to be positive. Hillbilly.
Yeah. Everything's gonna be fine, Hillbilly. They'll get you squared away one way or another.
Right.
It sucks right now, but everything will be good later.
Right. All right. Yeah. There you go. So, but going back to the legendary thing changing, less legendaries in a set I think will be better for the set because just for the fact that we have over hundreds of commander options now, just over hundreds legitimately.
Mm-hmm.
And not all of them good. Some just have the legendary subtype onto them because they wanted to put legendary on it, and no one wants to build a deck around it. I mean,
then it's not worth crap.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the partner mechanic was a unique thing they did, but they never expanded upon it to make any other options, really.
Yeah.
Because they did partners, then they did partners with. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and then they did the background thing with the enchantments,
right?
And Baldur's Gate, and honestly, I hear a lot of pluses and minuses for it. In my opinion, it's fine, but some people just really hate it, just like they really hate Eminence. Some people really hate commanders with Eminence because at that point, it's just like an emblem. You can't do squat about it.
Well, to think of how they had to come up with some of the design space for these things, to have a commander that could do something from the command zone and not needing to interact with it.
Yeah.
It almost feels like because you don't see a lot of Eminence anymore. So correct. I think the main one you do see would be Edgar Markov, but I see It's like they're trying to steal the show with commanders. Here's a commander that you don't have to play on your board state to get effect from. So this could be like the main commander people will play, these highlights. Because I think there was I could be wrong, but I think there was a time when Wizards was trying to get their hand control of commander and what people played so they could control what sells. And by saying control what sells is they'd be able to know what kind of product will sell if they have the hand in the design the way people played. If people knew they played Edgar, they could sell a product just for that. And I think they kind of went reaching in that direction. Now, was it successful? I don't think so. But as a company that's always pushing to sell, I think this is going to change tone and pace and kind of get off topic. I think WotC failed in that market, but now we got a flooded market, and this is where things change in this conversation. We got a flooded market where Commander became the biggest format, and they learned that they can't control the certain Commanders product line. That they did a lot of Commanders things. We got an overflooded market, a lot of jank cards, A lot of cards not worth value, but we did get a lot of hits here and there. And
Yep.
with flooding the market, dropping the prices they did on single cards, kind of tie into how people like cards cheap but want collectible. Is
Yep.
I just lost my thought.
I see where you're going with it. Like just the weird. I mean, so we always hear this saying that there's two wolves inside you fighting for dominance, right? The bad wolf and good wolf. So that's the way I look at it. You've got your greedy side that is fighting for me. I want my collection to be worth a lot. And then you've got your good side where you're like, I want cards to be cheap and cheap for everybody because everyone should be able to play.
Right.
And then Wizards is trying to appease that. Both sides. They're, like with their release of, take Commander Masters, you've got Jeweled Lotus, you've got all these top hits. You've got Jeweled Lotus, Finale of Devastation is phenomenal. The free Commander cycle.
Right.
So they're printing those, and that's lowering the prices so the players can get them and get the cards in more hands. But in the premium product, for those who are chasing it, you do have the chase aspect of the textured Frame Break Lotus or textured Dragon. So they're trying to appease the collectors and the players simultaneously.
Exactly. And which is ironic because, like me, like since I can't afford the big cards, I'm biased to have cards be more cheap. But I get more excited, before I even know the price of a card, I get excited if the card works for a deck I have existing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why Spoiler Season is good. You're like, oh, this could be good in my deck. Because when I was building Atraxa, when I was building my Atraxa deck, I had an Edgar Markov, pretty minty, and I had a very expensive dragon. I think it was the Dragon too, and a couple other pricey cards I've gotten off of a guy's old collection.
Mm-hmm.
And because I got that at a pretty decent rate, and I took some of the cards and I sold them to my local. They're not a trading card game store, but it's called Video Games Etc. They're more of a video game store that sells Magic. And I took my product in there, and I was able to get all the perfect mana I got for my deck. Because Atraxa's 4 colors, I can't clock Atraxa with two land cards, so I got a lot of triumphs that all the triumphs I can get for Atraxa and stuff like that, because Atraxa cares about perfect mana more than ramp. And I only bring up deck building into this idea because when I look at a card, I look at what is already existing. So if they printed a 1 mana rampant growth, that card's going to fly off the shelf.
Hell yeah.
Not saying Wizards would be, not saying Wizards would do that, but who knows what Wizards would do. But a 1 mana rampant growth would be insane. And
give them 2 years.
Right? But if they did, I'd be more excited about the card than I would be about the price, because I wouldn't be thinking about the price. I'd think of the decks I'd have. Like when they reprinted Exploration, I didn't know Exploration was a card before, and I was excited to see that card. I didn't know it was a reprint when they reprinted it. And I'm like, oh, that card's probably gonna be worth some money, but that's a card that goes into my Tulane deck, which cares about mana ramp, or goes in my cube, which cares about landfall. And I'm like, that's a card I'm going to need,
Yeah.
And then I think part of the price spikes in cards is that's how a lot of people think. If it fits their deck, they're going to want copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get people who are like, well, people are going to want this card, so if I can buy out what I can resell them when the price goes up.
Yep, exactly.
And I honestly think, and I can't, and I'm not targeting LGS, but what I'm targeting is the people who think they can go be the person outside the LGS doing it. Is I think the reseller market is really hindering the value of cards in the market because if you remember a long time ago, it was a few years back, I think right before COVID was a thing, was people would be buying out internet shops. Like they'd go on the internet and they order, like they'll find a card that's at a decent price and they'll buy all the copies they can until the websites had to make a pact where they'd sell like maybe 8 copies of a card to one seller, which only diverts how people buy cards online. Like someone can have multiple accounts and buy tons of cards still, you know.
Correct.
But it helps mitigate the influence of the market because people would. Because I don't know if you watched Heroes and Legends as a channel.
I do.
I don't watch him as much as I used to, though.
I do. I honestly, I just started watching him because I didn't know about him until a pack opening addict video came out this week, and POA was bringing him up during one of his rants, and I was like, you know what? I haven't heard of this channel. Let me check it out. And I'm watching it. I'm like, dang, this guy is in depth on his market analysis. This is great stuff.
He's the best at what he does, honestly. Like, if I ever could get him on my channel, dude, I'd give him so much praise. Like, that's how I used to follow the market back then. James, welcome. So, Heroes and Legends I've followed for years now, pre-COVID times, by following him, he would look at cards that jumped up in value, no matter like just spontaneously, especially like reserve list cards, and he'd be like, "Well, this card just had a big spike," and he says, and he'd be like, "I think someone's just buying up the cards to push up the price because what happens is people in the market will buy up like say all Hallows Eve." And if it's no longer in the market, if it's no longer really on the market, they can control the price to put it back on the market. So if it's like a $20 card, they buy it all out, then relist it for like 20. That's the correct price now.
Yep, exactly. Just manipulating the market for their own personal gain, and it's, it ruins a lot of us players.
Right.
Like I used to have the investor mindset. I had valuable cards and I was a high-end collector,
right?
And now that I'm back in the game, I just want to play, man. That's it. I'm not like collecting high-end cards anymore because number one, the prices are outrageous. So from everybody wanting a piece of that pie, that and no offense to him, but Rudy is from Alpha Investments. He is one who does that. He manipulates the market, especially with Power 9. Like you see his Power 9 collection that he busts out every once in a while, and he's got like 90 Black Lotus, 100 Black Lotus just sitting in a binder, and then that's not counting his graded ones and his ones that are in boxes. And that's just market manipulation. The more he holds on to it, the value goes up. So, and you can control the price.
What's up, Prime?
Good morning, Prime.
Well, Prime's here. Well, give me a second. There's something that follows him every time.
My fellow Decepticons, hit that like button for my sake.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, honestly, those Transformer clips I made for Prime, and he just wasn't using them, so I'm like, I'll just use them.
Hell yeah.
Especially for the Prime
Starscream's voice.
Yeah. There was this program. There was this AI program where it gives you so many points, like a one-time usage of points. And I used all the points to make these 2 clips because figuring out how to get them to say the right words and stuff. Sometimes you have to misspell something just by its like what do you call it when how you got to write words by how they sound, not how they're written, and I had to do that several times to get it right. Yeah, because like there's a song I did, like a small song I did, and I had it's like "Welcome to Super Fast Tortoise." And that's all the lyrics. And I had to spell tortoise weird because it couldn't say tortoise correctly. So I had to spell Tortus in 2 words to say tortoise. I'm like, that makes no sense.
Damn computers. Skynet, you can't take over yet. You don't even know how to spell tortoise.
So,
but yeah, there's always been that speculator side in the market, and frankly, you know, like Richard Garfield has written books on this, and he hates that. He absolutely hates it. Mm-hmm. that happens. His view is the game should be open to all. That's not the business view, but that is his view. Right. And speculators screw that up for people all the time.
Well,
like Moxman, you know, I like Moxman, but him and his channel raised the price of Thrall Champion single-handedly from $2 reserve list card to $12.50.
Ooh.
He got his whole channel involved, and they got Thrall Champion from a $2 reserve list at $12.50, and then sold them out. So making money, and it's like, man, come on now.
But Wizards ain't doing hot themselves. Like,
no.
Like I know I've told this story to other people, but I don't think I've ever told you this story. And it's not a deep, impactful story, but what I'm about to get at is going to explain the difference between players now to players back when we were playing. Like, you were playing before I was playing, and I started in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So, right. So Zendikar was the more current set, right? Zendikar was standard, and everybody's having a blast.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember Zendikar standard.
Me and my friend at the time did not drive. Like, we didn't have driver's license. I still don't have my driver's license. He has his driver's license now. But like 9 miles down the road, the preferred LGS we loved going to was having a special event to reveal a new creature type.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I mean, and this was on DVD. I could do this. I can pull a VHS tape, but this is on DVD. It was shipped from WotC, big fancy production for what it was. And me and my friend had to go out of our way. I had to call my sister and owe her money to drive us down to the shop for this big reveal. And the reveal was all about the Eldrazi's.
Oh, I remember that reveal. Yeah, that was hot.
Right? And the mention of the fetch lines.
Mm-hmm.
No, that fetch lines came out by then. No, there's something else going on there. There was something else. I can't remember. But the Eldrazi's were the big thing. There was a production, the group there. We got a special card for attending that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then that story is to kind of reiterate every good set we had, WotC pushed out for publicity, and they paid whatever decent money was to get our money to draw us into the game.
Yep.
You know, like, it was like each good set, like, because they didn't do it for every set, but for each set they knew they wanted to sell and do big with, they pushed out. They made a big commotion about it. They did a lot to bring us in.
Yes.
You know, they cared about how we spent our money on them.
Yes.
Now, where things changed is we just get spoilers drip fed on different sites, and we have, I said we many times, we get a lot of people who go through the spoilers. WotC has toned down their production. Like, they've done a couple things. Like with New Capenna, they tried going out, but they're using the internet poorly in that direction. But the production value is not as fantastic anymore. is what it used to be. Now, I like it when they do stuff like they did with New Capenna, but I think Capenna was the wrong set to do it with because, in all retrospect, as we did get some good cards in that set, that was a very clunky set. So
yeah, the mechanics were off, and like I've said before, the timing was off. Just releasing a 1920s themed type set, it just, to me, it was like, this when Chicago or whatever it was called was big, that would have been the time to release that. Like you need to time your sets to release when big things are happening in pop culture, so that way you can fully take advantage of it.
Right. So what happened, and the way I feel about New Capenna's big production value, because they did really good with the production of selling us on the set before spoilers were really released.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they don't do as much as possible, but they did it for a set that was just too clunky. I mean, they had songs produced for it. There's a whole soundtrack for New Capenna.
Yep.
They did a lot of stuff, but what was their targeted audience? That, like, the best thing that came out, like the best thing that did come out of New Capenna was the triumphs for that set. Because they made the enemy or what other ones. Yeah, that was the best thing in New Capenna. Now, there's some fun cards. Like, I have a commander deck that I'm always working on for Rigo, the Streetwise Mentor, the guy who cares about attacking. And there's some fun, weird cards out of that set. But there's nothing you're going to remember from that set other than the triumphs.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just weird. But continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. But now, Rise of Eldrazi made a whole different creature type, and for colorless, we're going to remember that always because that was a special thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But like my curiosity is, where does the creative team in WotC go to when we get this fancy production for a set like New Capenna? We get a crap set like Innistrad, Crimson Vow and stuff. Like, that was a really crappy set. And
and they overspent on their production on that as well. Like, they had the whole vampire wedding thing, and then there was the whole event at Magic 30 for Crimson Vow that if you bought the Black Lotus pass, you got to go to their blood party or whatever, and it was like,
oh yeah, I remember that from watching Dual Brains and them's videos.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you're this would have been a lot more hyped years ago. Now it's just like, man, I don't know.
Well, just like, when people talk about how WotC feels like they're disconnected from their fan base.
Yes, exactly.
I think they really are. And here's why. Because you remember Double Feature?
Dude, yeah.
Well,
so I stick to my guns on things. When I say I'm not going to buy a product, I don't buy it. When I say I will buy a product, I do buy it.
Right.
When Double Feature was spoiled, I said I will not buy Double Feature. I do not care what the price is. I hate it. And yeah, the foils look great. Yeah, they're rare. They're rare because no one wants it. That's the reason it's rare. And I still have yet to even open a single booster pack of Double Feature today. And it's going to stay that way.
I've never opened a pack, but I got some cards from Double Feature. Some fans and people of the community sent me. Pretty. They look really pretty. But what I was getting at is Gavin Verhey came out the video a long time ago talking about Double Feature and the process of it. And I left a comment saying, hey, Double Feature sucks, basically. I said, why didn't you do and this was before they did master sets, this is before they did remastered sets, really, like they did with Dominaria or whatever it was. I'm like, why didn't you just like do all of Innistrad sets and pick out the best cards in the set, shift the rarities to fit whatever needed to be, and sell that as a product? That would have been a way better product. You know, and he was like, I guess he didn't think about that or whatever. I'm like, how do you miss an opportunity that you're going to do a double feature, charge lots of money for a crap set on top of a crap set? Two crap sets do not make a better set. When you had original Innistrad, one of the best sets designed in Magic the Gathering, and
agreed.
And they just completely ignored the fact that it existed. I mean, we had Liliana the Veil, which I know she got printed in Dominaria, but Lily of the Veil back then was a money card
in there,
right? We had Commander Staples like
they could have put Lingering Spirits in there.
Lingering Spirits, right? Then you had the Obnixilus card. I can't think of his name, but he let you choose a player. What?
Was it Obnix Unshackled? Oh no, I think you're thinking of the other Obnix when he was a human or whatever.
No. I'm thinking of the Obnixilus that wasn't named Obnixilus.
Oh, okay.
And he says at the beginning of your upkeep, you can choose a player. That player draws a card and loses 1 life.
I vaguely remember that card. Vaguely. But yeah, okay.
All right.
I see. Yeah, they could have done so much with double feature. I mean, even if they had taken just Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow and done what they said they were going to do, which they said it was going to be a curated draft experience of both sets. To that, right. That means to me that you're going to get draft cards from both sets, but not all the chaff, not both sets just smashed together.
Right.
In a double masters version. At that,
right.
You know, it's like, dude, what the hell are you even doing? And you devalued both of the previous sets by releasing this. That's the reprint set that nobody talks about. But they devalued both of those sets by releasing double feature just a month after or 2 months after Crimson Vow.
and they overcharged the set. Like
and it was a WPN exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't get that on Amazon. You had to go to your WPN store to get that original.
No, I'm gonna throw you my Dreamland idea of what should have been the set. I've already told you they should have mixed every Innistrad set in the double feature and pick out the best cards because there's enough cards there to do it. Good morning, Johnny. But then you should have had and I know some people disagree with me here because it's more reprint, but then you should have had a expedition slot where you can pull hard to get specific cards done in the old style 19s, 20s movies posters of some of the cards.
That would have sold like hotcakes super fast. That would have gone over the moon. I mean, you're talking like Avacyn Restored was part of the original Innistrad.
Yes.
You had what was it? There was Innistrad. What was that middle set? Dark Ascension, and then Avacyn Restored. Then you had Shadows over Innistrad, and the other one. I wasn't playing at the time. Man, that would have sold like hotcakes.
Right. Like that's how I feel about it.
That would have been a breakaway reprint set that, I mean, God, could you imagine pulling a Liliana of the Veil, even if it's different artwork in the grayscale?
Right.
You know, yeah, it's a reprint, but damn, it's a different reprint. It's something awesome. It's special.
And with the black and white art they did, it would have been a different art style. So it wouldn't have been a copy of the original.
Yeah, no, that's what they should have done. If they had done that and then done certain cards as a chase card, quote unquote, in the 1920s frame, like even Lingering Souls, that card is phenomenal. That broke limited. It broke standard for a little while. It was insanely overpowered. 4 creatures for 5 mana investment, 4 flyers for 5 mana. Like, come on, man. That it's like, dude, do that in a 1920s art style with 1920s ghosts and stuff. I'd have been all over that.
Oh, so much, so much. That's why I think one way Secret Lair kind of kills the market is a lot of Secret Lair art I think is crap, but sometimes it's golden and would have been better if said in a set.
Yes.
I need to catch up with chat here. James Willis says 2 crap sets make one big pile of shit.
You're true. You're right.
Crispy Souls, hello. Can't wait to get Commander decks today. Nice. Me too. Robert, do you have a YouTube channel? James Willis asks.
I do have a YouTube channel. I do not upload content really because I really don't have time that often to sit down and produce stuff, and I, can't cuss openly a lot of times, and I tend to let it slip out. So, yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, and I have a couple of weird crap produced box openings that I did, but yeah.
Right.
Prime. I can't wait for you to get your decks today too, Prime. That's going to be, oh man, I'm excited for you, bud.
I'm excited too because if you read that last comment, he's sending me the enchantment stack for my birthday.
Yeah. And I've been listening to Kitchen Table TCG.
Oh yeah.
And they sat around and played the precons against each other, and the one that won the most was enchantments and planeswalkers.
Nice.
Eldrazi got blown out all the time in that in that pair up there. So,
well, because they didn't put a lot of good ramp in the Eldrazi's.
Yep. Need mana crypt.
Mana crypt.
Put Mana Vault in a precon. Come on.
Right. Yeah, like it was funny because last time I was breaking down the enchantment stack, I was looking through it and a realization hit me. I said, "This is a token stack." A token stack.
Yes.
And which is surprising because one card that would have been a nice reprint in there was Hallowed Haunting, which I'm going to need to get a copy of that for that specific deck.
Well, let me look through my collection. If I have one, I'll shoot it to you.
Jeez.
How about that?
Well, thank you.
I think I know I have one. If I have 2, one of them's yours because I keep one copy for me of every card, and then everything else after one copy I don't care about if I pull extras. So yeah.
Starfield Nyx is an MVP from the enchantment deck. Yeah.
Yes.
So, design aspects, this just hit my brain, so I know it's a little off topic, but it's about the enchantment decks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not disappointed in the deck build, but I'm disappointed in the direction the WotC went with. Because based off the headline commander, there's a few good cards in Nyx Reborn or whatever it was in the Theros block. In the Theros block, there's a lot of enchantment creatures that are black that are good for that deck that they didn't use.
Oh, Journey into Nyx?
Journey into Nyx, yes. Yeah, like Journey Nyx, the Theros block, because they had enchantment creatures and they had bestowed creatures. Different things I thought they were going to do with the deck when they showcased the commander, and they went the token route. Like, I like tokens, don't get me wrong. And it'd be different.
Yeah, you play Bant, you have to love tokens.
Well, right now I'm trying to firmly convert my Bant deck into a tokens deck. It was tokens with a Voltron strategy. But I might change. What?
That's a card they need to reprint for you. You need Branching Evolution.
Branching Evolution.
Yeah. And that was OG Innistrad.
Yeah.
But going back to our OG Innistrad, the reprints we need.
Well, that's what I miss about the old reprint days. When we got there were cards that were pretty obscure. I mean, the first time I ever Sylvan Library was out of the first Commander product that were made, which is the Commanders. It was a big box, and it had like select cards and a spin down weird life counter thing that people like.
Commander Arsenal? Maybe?
It was something like that. I can't remember. It was a big box, and they did it again, but they made it smaller. But it was a small allocation thing where they only sent a certain amount to game stores. because game stores were important to WotC one time, and then the game stores could sell them for a buku amount of bucks, which is just to give an experience of like my favorite game store, Game Grid of Utah, North Ogden specifically. My owner of the LGS there has never skipped out on a product. If something was a giveaway card, he gave it away the day of release. Then he sold after. Like, some places will sell like release cards or something the day of.
Yeah, I know.
He would give them away. He'd like basically give it a week to settle. And whatever he had left, he'd put on the market. Fair game. The Commander Arsenal thing was a big box. He could have sold for $300. He gave it away as a Commander Night prize.
Dude, that's awesome.
Right. I didn't win, but I still remember that.
Yeah. See, the game stores are so polarizing. Sometimes you have the real shitty ones and you remember those, and then the really good ones and you remember those.
Right.
Conspiracy one.
Yeah, I like obscure reprints. Especially with good cards. Like one card that needs a reprint that I wish I don't know if it's on the reserve list or not. If it is, it sucks. If it isn't, they should reprint it. Is Necromancy, which I'm in the middle of a trade with James Willis because I'm getting a card to trade for him, but I have to wait for the card.
So
and I get a couple copies of them. Yeah,
Necromancy is not reserve list, and it did get a reprint on the list recently, relatively recently.
Nice. Well, it needs it's a $60.
Yeah, it needs a full set release, not a not a list slot.
Yeah, Necromancy is not powerful as like game changing. To me, that card should be more cheap. Like it's a good combat trick because you can cast it for that you can cast it as if it had flash. But if you do, you sacrifice the creature at end of a turn. Or if you cast it at sorcerer speed, it's just a 1 mana better version of Animate Dead. That's it.
Yeah, Necromancy's awesome. That's a phenomenal card. I pulled one off of the list slot, and I'm like, hey, I remember you. You're going right into my Reanimator deck.
Right. That's why I'm trying to get a couple copies because I'm supposed to be receiving. Okay, weird story. I got a Children of the Apocalypse, one off a channel, another channel, 570, I think. No, not 570. I can't remember the channel's name right now. I feel bad. But I won a Children of Apocalypse, traded for an Edgar Markov, trade to James. Then my friend wants this version of a Trax that I have, but it cost more money than the Trax that he had that he got from me. And somehow in the realm to trade for this Edgar Markov, I'm getting back the 2 cards I traded for Edgar, so he can get this version of a Trax. So when it's this year, I'm going to trade to James. This it's convoluted, but I'm going to trade to James for 2 Necromancies, and what's that card? The 2 black card combo, the more expensive piece, gain life, lose life thing.
Oh, Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond.
Yeah, Exquisite Blood is the version he's going to send me, and when we get the trade done. Because I need that for combo. Because I got the cheap piece, and I'm gonna install them in my enchantment deck because they're enchantments.
Yeah, they're enchantments, and I'm gonna wreck your face. Let me just sack a food token. Game over.
Right. Well, I don't like to run a lot of infinite combos. Like in my Tulane decks, the only deck I actually have an infinite combo in, and that's just one instance of an instant combo. James and another Atraxa.
Get all the Atraxas.
Well, there's a meme behind it. So, I gotta tell you this. So, my friend gave me a hard time to trade for this Edgar Markov of his, right? Not too rough, but hard time. And I already did some work for him, updating a deck, and I did like $40-$50 worth of value. but he wanted more money value for his trade for Edgar. So I'm like, well, I got this Atraxa. I know you want to build Atraxa. And it's the non-foil New Capenna style one. And he's like, do you got anything else? I'm like, well, if you, I really want to supplant this trade, I have the Shieldred. And I'm like, think about this. And he's like, and there was a little more extra into it, but like I traded those off. Well, James sent me a mystery pack full of non-basic lands, which was awesome. Like a lot of Czech lands and other lands, just awesome cards. And an Atraxa to replace the Atraxa I got.
Dude.
So as a joke to me and my friend, he's going to send me those cards plus a new Atraxa to show this guy, because I tried getting these two people to trade with each other, but my friend doesn't want to trade with James for some reason, and he's going to send me another Atraxa to meme my friend.
Who wouldn't want to trade with Willis? What you talking about, Willis?
Well, cause my friend, when I got the mystery pack, my friend that I got the Edgar from was like, I could have gotten a mystery pack. It was hilarious.
Oh, brah.
Painlands, yep. Because like
that's one of the things I love about this game is these kind of convoluted trades where you can do like wheel with this person, deal with that person, switch with this person. Everyone gets what they want. We're all happy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's just all kind of funny.
Mystery pack. I scare people. What you talking about, Willis?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. But like the whole thing is Necromancy's been a card I've been wanting for a while, and it used to be worth a lot more money than it is now. But just to get that trade from him is going to help my cube, because I'm getting 2 copies of Necromancy. One's going to my cube, and the other one's going to go into either my zombie deck or just my enchantment deck, because I got to animate Dead floating around somewhere.
Oh, you know what's gross with Necromancy? Protean Hulk.
Oh.
Yeah. Entomb a Protean Hulk, Necromancy it, boom. Let me go ahead and get my combo out. Thanks.
Well, sadly, I don't have Protean Hulk outside of a deck. But it's all right. I'm okay, because like I used to be a fan of Protean Hulk. Then he used to be the cheapest card forever until someone broke him in a flash deck. And he was my curse card throughout Ravnica. Like, if I didn't pull a good card, it was Protean Hulk.
Hulk was and is an amazing card. Yeah. I love me some Hulk. Hulk Flash.
Presence of the Master is a nice upgraded piece for the enchantments deck. It also comes with a Destiny Spinner if you are the only one to cast enchantments. Ooh, nifty.
That is sick.
If you need a third, let me know. Or a fourth. Don't tease me, James. Don't tease me.
Don't touch my heartstrings like that, bro.
But yeah, so it's gonna be fun. But yeah, so I'm excited about the enchantments deck. The enchantment, like the 2 decks I was really intrigued about was the enchantments deck and the Eldrazi deck when they spoiled them. Eldrazi is mainly just to see what new cards they were going to come out with. And you know what? Even though the build for Eldrazi is like so decent, the new cards they printed in the deck are pretty saucy. Like I really like the new card designs.
That Darksteel Monolith. So I'm an Artifact Storm player. I've played Artifacts since Antiquities. It's, I was the memory jar player guy in Urza Saga.
Right.
Tolarian Academy is one of my favorite printed Magic the Gathering cards. I hate that it's banned everywhere. I understand why, but I hate it.
Yep.
And I saw that Darksteel Monolith, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Like in the future, I'm gonna try to get a copy of Rise of Eldrazi just because of the name of the card.
Yes, and all 4 Eldrazi Titans original abilities printed onto one card.
Yeah, well, technically 2 of Emrakul's are on that card because the spell can't be countered, and you take an
Oh,
extra.
that's true. You're right. Absolutely dead on. Yeah, man. That card is saucy.
Oh yeah, I really like the new flavor of the cards. Now, one card I wish they would have reprinted in either the enchantments deck or the Eldrazi deck. And my brain freeze, so I'm gonna have to look up this card, but it's a token card. Eldrazi Monument.
Yes, exactly. That was one of the big complaints on the Eldrazi deck. Why no Eldrazi Monument? It doesn't exactly fit, but it fits.
Right.
I know it's a a salty card, but come on now.
Yeah, well, Eldrazi Monument is just a good card, especially for like token builds. Which I thought since the Eldrazi deck wasn't supposed to be a main Eldrazi card, I thought they were going to have ways to token generate. Now, Colorless has ways to token generate in different ways. It's not as powerful as like Mono Green, but still different ways. But Eldrazi Monument, where you have to sacrifice a creature every turn, that would have been a shoo-in. Just like, but it's all right. It's all right. Sliver decks didn't get a Sliver Hive.
Yeah, Sliver decks didn't get a Sliver Hive or a first Sliver. And I remember after they released what decks are going to be out, people were mass selling Sliver Hives and first Slivers, and I mean the price just cratered on those. And if I was back in my investment era phase, I'd have been buying up Sliver Hives when they were $10 a piece, $8 a piece.
Right. Whoa, what this is my only Sliver Hive. What the heck happened there? I don't know. This is my only Sliver Hive, and Prime wanted it. I'm sending it to him for all the stuff he's giving me. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to try to trade him for it. I'll just give him stuff. Give him it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
What happened to your logo?
My logo.
Yeah, I used to have 3 dragons. Now it's just a blank face.
I see 3 dragons on my end. What happened?
I don't know. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm gonna boot myself out.
No, it's me. Welcome to the Super Fast Tortoise Show.
Yeah, I'm back in, and you are. I don't know what happened. Let me see how it looks like.
Yeah, it was weird. I think you had an internet blurb.
I could be.
Oh, here comes my 11 a.m. Friday train. Good time.
11 a.m. Friday train.
Yeah, my office is 10 feet from a train track, so.
Yay! 10 feet from a train track.
Yeah, it's great.
Whew. I had a friend who bought a house in another city, and it's literally right next to the train tracks. And I'm like, dude, did you lose?
I couldn't live right next to a train track. I have to work right next to one. It's bad enough. Here it comes. Yeah, there it is.
Prime says we're in the same time zone, Robert.
All right, I muted it muted my end so that way you guys didn't have to hear, because the asshole kid is driving the train today and he just blares his horn constantly.
Oh, no doubt.
But yeah, Prime, I'm Mountain Time.
Mountain Time.
20 hours south of you or whatever.
Prime's like, I can hear it.
I can hear it. I waited till he was a mile out before I unmuted.
Right.
But yeah, that's some hotness. And honestly, I don't know about you, but I can't wait for the Wilds of Eldraine, Return to Eldraine.
I'm
personally. Oh, go ahead.
I'm curious about it too. Like it's gonna be president. 'Cause I don't know if the one planeswalker per set thing is gonna happen with that. Like the less legendaries, one planeswalker per set kind of thing. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but this now fingers crossed. Wizards is not gonna mess up the set, but the first set did so well. Maybe this set will do good.
Yeah. Now, what I'm looking forward to, give me my boy Garrick back. I want to see what he's up to these days. If he's been de-sparked, or if he's still, the big 8 foot tall bamf that he is. Let me see Garrick again. Come on, Wizards.
Right. We love Garrick. We need Garrick. Garuk. You're all right. Oh, man.
Garuk is on fire. No.
That we got a Jundi group now. Jundi group. That'd be awesome if we got a Jundi group.
Hell yeah. I'd be all in. I'm not much of a Jund. I don't play Jund very often, but when I do, I play Jund.
Right. But then, now what I've been waiting for all year throughout this mass hysteria of crazy, like we've had great sets this year. Don't get me wrong. That Brothers War block was insane.
Yes. Agreed.
But what I've been waiting for is Caverns of Ixalan. That's because
me too.
You go ahead.
I can't wait to see Man Dino Cat. I want to see what his abilities are.
Right. Well, I want to see what kind of dinosaurs they're going to do because we're in the caverns of Eldraine, so we're going to get like smaller Dimetrodon kind of prehistoric beasts. I can't say dinosaurs. Right. Dimetrodons are not dinosaurs, but they're prehistoric. But like, what kind of biggies are we going to get? What kind of small ones? Because like the smaller dinosaurs we get, they got to be packed with some kind of ability. Now, it'd be interesting if we get a landfall kind of theme in there.
I'd love for them to put like a T-Rex in there that's blind and just stuck in the cave or whatever. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
All right, back to work. Have a good day for it. Make a thumb for Eldrazi Live today. All right.
All right, Prime, enjoy your work.
I'll have to do that later. Because as soon as I get off this live, I have to start prepping for some bill payings and errands. Yay! Adult responsibilities.
I hate being an adult. Let me be a high schooler again, damn it.
Right? I was about to make jokes, but I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Oh, man. But it has been an hour. Thank you for chilling along, Robert. You're awesome.
You're awesome, super fast. I love your content, sir.
Thank you. Well, I wasn't really fishing for a compliment, but I'll take it. Paid money.
Well, hey, thank you for letting me be on here. I really enjoy this conversation. It was riveting and awesome.
Oh, I love it when I can just conversate and just have a conversation, not feel like I'm structured all the time.
Right.
That's the point of morning coffee, is just bullshit and gab.
Bullshit, gab, and let the conversation flow wherever it goes. Hell yeah. Yep.
The Truce Archaic and Eldrazi deck is a fun card. Nice. It is. It looks fun. But I got to get ready to start getting things going, start getting things motivated. Like, I even got to start dinner soon, all right? Because we're crock-potting a roast. So, yeah, it's going to be delicious.
I'll be there in 5
minutes. You guys rock. Oh, man. And I'm so happy you guys get to hang out with. And here's how Prime feels right now.
You look terrible. All white and tired and old. How's the job?